I don't know how you want to start this exactly, but
I mean, how do you start anything, man? We're talking about WandaVision.
we're talking about WandaVision. That's what we're doing. I welcome everyone to whatever this show is called. And
Yeah,
I'm
two
Ulysses.
brothers. Two brothers. I'm Joe.
And yeah, let's just get started. Joe, first of all, how you doing?
Ulysses, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. If you're watching the video version of this, I'm gonna be making some weird faces because I bit myself twice in the same spot, and so
Yeah.
if I'm making weird faces, that's why. It's because it kind of hurts to when I'm talking.
Bit yourself twice. All those Instagram trolls getting to you. This show, man, is not. I mean, it's everything sort of that I expected from the advertisements and stuff, but it is not the direction I thought they were going to go after Endgame.
Uh-huh.
And I think that is a good thing. Like, I'm really enjoying the creativity and just how much this stands out with the rest of the MCU so far. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, it's very different from anything. I think anything that I watched, like ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, definitely, like you were saying, it's very different from how you might expect them to have picked up after Endgame.
Yeah.
And it's so almost mind-boggling, weird / kind of cool is the fact that the actual sitcom version of it or part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of clever. Like you do want to laugh at parts.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you almost feel a little bad for laughing because that something is not right.
Right. There's this undertone of something sinister creeping under the surface. It's almost very Twilight Zone or kind of psychological Stephen King horror to me. Like the most horror centric thing I think I've seen the MCU do so far, and I'm really enjoying it for that.
Definitely, I think the creativity in the show is phenomenal. Like it's actually really. I saw a post in one of my filmmaking groups, and someone had shared how like even the very first episode, like the setup, the lights they were using were all like authentic,
Wow.
Stuff. I'm trying to remember the exact show. Was it the Andy Griffith show? I think is what it was. Like it was set up. It's supposed to be a setup exactly like that,
with like the two cameras and stuff.
Yeah, like even the lights. The guy was saying the lights they used were older than him. Like they were lights that he hasn't used on a set since like the beginning of his career.
Wow, that is awesome. Actually, I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, so I think like with every like sitcom version of the show, like they've been trying to make it like as authentic for that era as possible.
That's really dope. I did not know that. It doesn't surprise me because the quality of the show, especially for a TV show, I mean, Disney has all the money in the world, they can do this. But especially for a TV show similar to The Mandalorian, it doesn't really feel like a TV show like we grow up watching TV shows. It feels like the quality of a movie, honestly.
Which that kind of I made that's a good segue into yesterday's episode. Oh my gosh, I started cracking up as soon as the intro started. I was like,
Malcolm in the middle. Yeah. By the way, I don't think we can talk too much about the show without going into spoilers. So I just feel like we might as well do that now because we're going to talk about things.
Yeah, I guess if you've been listening, watching this up until now, we've done non-spoilers. Now we're going straight into spoilers.
Yeah, you really can't talk too much about the show without talking about what is happening. But yeah, Malcolm in the Middle. I knew you would love that. I love that. The moment I saw that intro and everything, and just the way it was shot with like them breaking the fourth wall and everything, like Malcolm would do. And just like the older brother thing that Pietro is doing, like it's so perfect.
And have like the flashbacks and
yeah. So good. They've nailed every single sitcom that they have like portrayed or been like I don't know what the right word is. It's not really a parody necessarily. Each type of sitcom they've been going for, they've nailed so far.
For sure. And it's interesting because also if you listen to the theme song of each show, each episode, like there's also like little hints, like something's not right. Like I don't remember exactly what they said in yesterday's, but it was something like this isn't real, so something like that. It's like
I think it was something like "Don't break the fantasy" or something like that.
So, yeah, and so all these like little hints to like again, like you want to enjoy the sitcom part of it, but just keeps letting you know like something's not right here.
Mm-hmm. And like I was surprised, but I think it works the way they've done it. That they answered so many questions right off the bat with episode 4. I think it was episode 4 was pretty much catching you up on all the behind the scenes stuff. It's cleverly called We Interrupt This Program. All the titles have been great, by the way, so far. But it's caught you up on all the behind the scenes stuff from like episodes 1 through 3. And I wasn't expecting that. I thought it would be like more reserved with that, but it's just like straight. But the thing is, it punches you with all this information, and still there's so many unanswered questions that are burning my mind.
For real. And I honestly, I think this brings us into episode. Well, it was yesterday, episode 6, right?
Yes.
Because
there's going to be 8.
There's going to be 8. Okay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Something I desperately want to know. I mean, it kind of hints at it, but there's no definitive answer yet.
Yeah.
Is Vision, can he not exist outside of the town?
It really seems so, right? Because like he tried to escape, and by the way, horrifying. Like first off, I can't mention this without mentioning the image of him with the caved in like forehead, dead Vision. Zombie Vision is horrifying. Haunted my dreams. I will never recover. But also seeing Vision just being torn apart piece by piece, almost like he was being snapped, but like slower and more painful, is like so overwhelmingly horrifying to me that I was like in shock during that part. I just feel a bit bad for Vision this whole show. I don't know about you. I feel so bad for him. Because
go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say because he doesn't remember anything like pre the city, pre the town, and it's just like it should be like a nice situation. It should be he's with his love, has kids. Spoiler alert.
We'll get to that.
but then it's just like something's not right. And again, I'm just wondering, like, is he are we just going to see him die again at the end of the season? Because
it really seems like that.
Because Vision is such a, I think we could say, a wholesome character.
Right.
He's what you might say like virtuous. He's trying to do what's right. He's always like trying to be considerate. And so to almost like have this life, this what should be like the ideal life, so to speak, and then find out that it's fake or have to die again. Like I'm just like, oh, like I'm
you
like,
already did twice. The brother died twice. They're going to make him go through that crap a third time. What did the writers have against Vision in the MCU, man? What did he do to them? But you mentioned the twins. Such a mind bender. The moment they showed up to the moment they started aging up to even now that they're getting powers and they seem to be acting on their own accord and they seem to be real. I don't know, but they seem to not be illusions.
I mean, Rambo, well, that's her name, right? Captain Rambo? She was saying, oh no, the twins are real. Like, those are her babies.
Yeah, she did say that. So I'm pretty sure that they are real, at least as real as anything can be in the town. And There's so much in this show that keeps messing with my mind that I have to like take a moment to process it all. So I've heard say a lot of people have the theory that the twins are the end goal for whoever the real bad guy is in all of this, because a lot of people think it's too easy, that it's really just Wanda and that she's the one controlling everything and that there's not a third party involved. Because Wanda herself even said, and I think she was telling the truth when she was talking to Pietro in this last episode, that it was like she blacked out and then suddenly was able to do all of this.
Uh-huh.
I think she doesn't know how this started, but she's continuing it. And I think that a lot of people think it's Agnes. Agnes is pretty suspicious. And apparently I'm not the biggest comic book connoisseur, but a lot of people are saying Agnes seems to be they seem to be hinting at her being a character called Agatha Harkness from the comics, who helped train Wanda to use her powers a little more effectively in the comics, and she's a witch. And people are thinking maybe if she's not the bad guy, she's working for the real bad guy.
That's funny you say she's a witch, because in yesterday's episode, the Halloween episode, she was dressed up like a witch.
And if we're using the logic that the show itself presented to us, all the other comic book characters were dressed for that Halloween episode as the comic book version of themselves. Now, the one thing is that Agnes in that last episode seemed to be under Wanda's control, because when Vision came to see her, she was great scene, by the way, totally skin crawling with the way she was acting. But she seemed to like only wake up the same way that the other guy did when Vision awakened his mind. I'm wondering, I don't know if I completely buy that though. I'm wondering if she's like, she'd have to be a great actor, but I think she might be just playing along, is what I'm thinking.
Or it's a red herring.
Or it's a red herring. It could be that too. It could. That's the thing about the show. There's so many ways this could go, and I'm so confused. Okay, big elephant in the room. Big elephant in the room. You know what I'm about to talk about. People back home know what I'm about to talk about. Pietro. Who and what and where did he come from? Is it the one from the X-Men? Is it specifically him? Is it someone disguised as him? Why are they disguised as that version, if so? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so that was one of the questions I had, like from so not yesterday, but last week's episode, was, is it actually Pietro? Because I was waiting, like, is he going to be super speed? And then right from the intro, you see, okay, he does have the super speed. So he is a version, at least.
Yeah.
Of Pietro.
Or at least someone who has that power.
Yeah, and then everything he was saying from yesterday's episode made it seem like somehow he was resurrected. Because even him, he was like, why you look different? It's like, I don't know. Like I don't know why I look different.
Yeah.
And he talked about how last thing he remembers, he was getting shot, and then he heard Wanda calling, and then he's here.
Now, I thought I had it so figured out the moment that he knocked on the door, but this episode just made me more confused, because he seems to be aware to a certain extent of what's happening. He even approaches Wanda and says, like, oh, hey, I know what you're doing here, and he's impressed and everything. He seems to know, like, the history of the MCU version of Pietro, but he's acting so suspicious. Like, so suspicious. He's trying to I don't know if you got this if you pick this up, but it seems like he keeps trying to get information from her. Like,
I don't think I picked that up.
Like, he specifically asked her, how'd you do it? And stuff like that. And I don't know. It seems like he's either part of the third party I mentioned earlier, like the real bad guy, or he might even be another third party that we don't even know about. Some people are speculating maybe he's secretly the big bad guy disguised. A lot of people think it's I forgot his name. He's from the comics. He's basically the devil. who Agatha, it would make sense that she would be a part, in league with. Some people think it's him, but some people think maybe it is the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe, and he was sent by Doctor Strange. That was another theory that I saw. I don't know, and I am so intrigued to find out. That's a great thing about this show. Every episode has left me with some answers, but even more questions.
See, the only thing I have with him being someone else, or even being from a different universe per se, is like with Vision, you had that moment, like you mentioned earlier, where you saw him as dead, like
right.
Vision. And then yesterday, you also had that moment with Pietro, where for a second he was like zombie Pietro, like he had like the bullet wounds and everything.
Right.
And so that and again, that could be a red herring, could be whatever, but that would be my only, I guess, issue with like saying for sure, like, oh, is he like the bad guy? Is he someone else?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, that particular moment threw me through a loop, because I keep wondering, what does that mean? Is that just like Wanda's own conscious states, like just seeing that like PTSD sort of thing? Is that actually physically him? In which case, why does he look different? This might not matter, but for what it's worth, this might just be like I don't know, could not actually be a thing. One of our sisters, Moni, I think, pointed out when we paused at that moment when you see him all dead and stuff, she pointed out that all the bullet wounds do not exactly match the bullet wounds of what happened to the original Pietro. There were more bullets and they were in different spots. Again, could just be whatever. But I haven't heard people mention that, and I just wanted to put that out there, just in case like any people watching this want to let their imaginations run rampant. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means anything. Maybe not. But just thought I'd put that out there. You heard it here first.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting also is that so Wanda and her, I don't know if they've really established this in the MCU, unless this is them establishing it now.
Yeah.
But one of her powers in the comics is that she can manipulate reality.
Yes.
Which also makes sense why she would have kids now in the show.
Right.
Since, that's how in the comics, that's because she does have kids with Vision in the comics.
Yeah.
But
yes.
she does that by manipulating reality.
Yes.
And so I don't know what's happening, but that makes me also just wonder, like, is she like maybe someone's controlling her or like manipulating her? But in any case, that would almost make sense to me why Pietro would come back, but maybe looking a little differently, because maybe it was not as intentional. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Why specific? But my question, like, that still remains, and maybe it's as shallow as they just want to give a little wink, nod. I hope it's not that, but maybe it is. But like, my question would be then, why Evan Peters specifically? Like, why does he specifically now look like the alternate universe version of Quicksilver rather than Aaron Taylor Johnson version that we know in this universe?
Can I give you my theory? Let me pontificate for a sec.
Okay, fine. Hit me.
Okay, so we know that he's from the X-Men universe, from the Fox version of the X-Men universe, right?
Yes.
We know that Marvel now owns the rights to the X-Men.
Right.
We know that Marvel will introduce the X-Men at some point.
Yes.
Here's my thought, and let me say this first. Like, give me a minute. So I think this might be Marvel's way of introducing the X-Men, because first of all, you have an actual face from the X-Men, right?
Right.
But also, something that caught my attention yesterday was, I don't remember what's is is it Darcy, the scientist girl, like with the
Yes.
glasses? I think that's her name.
Yeah.
She was telling Captain Rambo, like, "Hey, you can't go back in there because you've been through it twice. It's altering, like,
Your
you at a
genes.
cellular level." And so again, I could be completely off, but I'm like, is this going to cause mutations?
Mm.
Is Captain Rambo going to turn to a mutant? Is everyone in the town going to now be a mutant? And also, there are children in the town now.
Right.
Are they going to be mutants? Like, is this like we do know that Wanda and Quicksilver from the comics, they're supposed to be mutants.
Yes.
And so it would almost make sense to me that this is one of the ways that Marvel's going to start introducing mutants. Like, hey, like literally, let's take Wanda, let's take Quicksilver, and there's going to be an event that causes mutation and it causes people to start turning into mutants.
That could definitely be it. I've seen similar theories to that. Being just to remind you that you're not smart. No, I'm just kidding. No, I've seen that brought up, and that's very possible. I think one thing about Monica specifically, she is a superhero in the comics. She has powers, I think, similar to Captain Marvel's, and she ends up being a superhero that way. So that is worth putting out there, just in case all of the like, because with her scan like not showing up correctly in the previous episode, and with now showing that her cells are changing and all that, I think that specifically for her character at least, that's more hinting towards her comic book. Let's say her comic book potential. So I think that's what that is. But that being said, that doesn't mean that the same thing couldn't possibly happen to the other people in the town. I don't know what's going to happen to them. I've heard theories that, I've heard all kinds of theories, by the way. I've heard theories that maybe the people in the town aren't even from this universe, or from this timeline specifically. They're just like the versions from other timelines. I've heard a theory that they're all dead. I've heard like a lot of different things. Here's my question. We saw how last night's episode ended, which was so crazy, by the way. She just showing us just even more so just how powerful Wanda is and has become. I was mentioning this to Kat, and she was saying, yeah, that what if the show straight up ended with it consuming the entire world? I don't know if that'll be it, but could you imagine how insane that would be?
I don't even know what would happen there, but
because that would kind of go along with
even more intriguing, knowing that somehow these events tie into the next Doctor Strange movie.
Yes.
When does that come out? Does that come out this year or next year?
I believe next year.
Dang it!
I know, man. I know. I can't wait that long. You see, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I left Endgame with a feeling of peace and zen in my heart, because I had spent so many years being such a fan of these movies and such a fan of this world and these characters, and I was like, that was a very fulfilling ending for me. I am very happy with how that turned out. A lot of things were paid off. If they never made another movie, I'd be good. They'll have to, or somehow top this, or not even top this, just go in a direction that intrigues me if they want to continue this, which we already knew they were going to. But I couldn't see in my head how they would do that. WandaVision just did that all over again. I feel like I'm a kid analyzing like the first Iron Man movie all over again, trying to figure out clues for the Avengers, except this time it's so much bigger.
It is so much bigger, because I feel like we could look back at this show in like a year and be like, oh my gosh, this ties into that, this ties into that.
Yeah. I've heard, I don't think it's going to be a happy ending, this show, do you?
That goes into what I was saying earlier, because one way or another, the town, whether it's at the end of the show, presumably,
Yeah.
town either at the end of the show or later on another series, season 2 if they do a season 2, or
What would season 2 even be? I mean, I guess it depends how this ends, right?
I don't know, or whether it's a different movie. But it's like I just feel like the town will collapse at some point.
Yeah.
And if and when that happens, that's why I was saying, like, is Vision just gonna die again? Is Pietro, if that is really Pietro, is he just gonna die again?
And the crazy thing is, it's not. There are so many questions in relation to Pietro. It's not even, is it Pietro? It's like, if it is, which version is it? Is it a version we've seen? Is it not? Is it one similar to the X-Men one, but slightly removed? Like, what is it? And that's what's so intriguing about the show, is that, like, there's so many little things. We haven't even talked about, like, the astrochemist or whatever. They were talking about the astro scientists that I believe Monica and Wu are about to, on their way to go meet at the end of this episode. People are speculating who that might be. Some people think it might be. I mean, some people thought it would be Reed Richards. But
if it's Reed Richards, I'm going to lose my mind.
I know, dude. Because, like, I mean, it feels like they're building up to him because they've mentioned him twice or a couple of times at this point.
What if that's how the Fantastic Four get their powers?
Is that they're exposed to the
radiation or whatever it is?
Bro, I don't know, man. They could do anything at this point. I don't even know, man.
That's kind of why I was saying with the X-Men thing. I'm like, it just feels like they totally will use that. And maybe it's just for Captain Rambeau, but it feels like if that is changing people's, molecular structure, whatever.
Right. They would have to encounter all 4 of them, though, right? Like, So here's the thing. Like, some people get really deep with this stuff when they do, like, when they try to pick apart every clue, to the point that some people watch the show in Spanish or with the Spanish subtitles. And they notice that when Monica refers to the chemist, or not to the chemist, the astrophysicist, I believe it is what she called him, they use the feminine pronoun in the Spanish version. So people are thinking that means that it's a woman, but we're not completely sure. It could just be just be whatever they decided to do in the Spanish version. But I don't know, dude. Like, if that's the case, who could it be? Like, yeah, I don't know. But I feel like whoever it is, it's going to be a name, like a big name. Like, at least a relatively big name. Maybe not as big as a Reed Richards, but it's going to be someone who matters. You know what I'm saying?
It's been a while. I normally don't look. Not that I dislike Fridays or anything like that, but I'm not really one to be like, oh, the weekend, oh, Friday. But now I'm slowly like, Friday needs to come already.
All right, dude. And it's so. I actually really like that they're dropping this episode by episode, as much as it kills me inside every time it's a cliffhanger, because it's given me, like, the best of both worlds with streaming and with cable television. It's given me, I can just stream it anytime, but it's also given me now I'm part of the discussion as it's happening, and I'm watching it unfold piece by piece, and I can speculate in between, and which is what we're doing right now. And, like, I love that.
Okay, I think we're going to have to wrap up, Joe.
Okay, one last thing. The shark advertisement?
Yes. What? Bethany was like, that's really dark.
I know. That was truly horrifying. Also, but the thing is, the advertisements to this point have all been something like subconscious related to her trauma, right? Like the Lagos thing, the Stark time bomb, the Hydra stuff, things like that. What this one is like, I don't know what that means. It could mean a million things, and I am so stumped. But I'm loving the show. I'm super intrigued. We'll have to talk about the next episode when it comes out. Maybe do another one of these.
For sure. Yeah, I honestly, all I can say is that if you have not watched WandaVision, highly, highly recommended. My wife, who isn't even a huge Marvel fan, like, can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah, it is. It's got not to make a pun, it's got some magic to it. It's a great show, and I'm enjoying every second of it. And it's truly rewarding as a Marvel fan to watch something like this unfold.
For sure, 100%. All right. Well, I think we'll just wrap it up there and say, take care, everyone.
All right. Have a good one.